Hey, Danny Gonzalez here on IndustrialSage. I'm super excited because we're back on the road in 2022. We are at our first trade show, at least recording anyway, so I'm excited. We're at IPPE here in Atlanta. And what does that stand for? That stands for the International Production and Processing Expo. So this is our first time here, even though it's in our backyard. Most of you know that we're here. We're based in Atlanta, and so we're here to check this out. This is food production. Like I said, new to us, but a lot of really cool innovation going on. This is brought to you by our friends at Stäubli. They're sponsoring this segment, and so go check them out. And so we talked to some of their partners on what they're doing in the food production space. And I got to tell you, there's some super interesting innovation going on here. I've been told a lot of things that we've learned is obviously, like everybody, supply chain is a big issue. Labor is a huge issue. And so you're seeing a lot of automation coming in. Automation was coming in and happening before, but now you're seeing a bigger influx into it, just like you're seeing in a lot of other industries. So come, join. You can take a look at the conversations that we're going to have with some of these companies on their innovations, what they're doing, and see some of their innovation. It's really awesome. You don't want to miss. Let's go check it out. Hello and welcome. I'm here at the Stäubli booth with Marty Albert. We're here at IPPE, but Marty, thank you so much for joining me. Let's talk a little bit about challenges that are going on right now in the industry. Obviously, we can talk about labor, we can talk about supply chain, a lot of things going on right now. What are the biggest challenges that you're seeing for your customers, and how are you guys solving them?
It's a great question. A lot of people talk about wash down and all this other fun stuff, the operational challenges. The ultimate challenge that food processing companies and food production companies are having today is output. And that relates directly to the amount of labor that they can get to produce, package, load, and ship. And so if you don't have the people to do it, you have to be able to do something, because the food industry is very unique. It's not like the automotive industry. It's not like semiconductor or anything else. Those things can have cycles that they ebb and flow through. The food industry has no cycle. People are constantly eating, and so therefore we need to constantly produce.
There's been a huge shift in the food market, like this has, from to people buying and cooking more food at home, and so there's been a big shift in what the companies, the big producers in the world are doing, and so they've needed to upgrade or change their equipment around to get the more at-home ready type foods. Fortunately, we have a very strong supply chain, which is another issue our customers face, that we've been able to very quickly supply all the products they need to convert their lines over in a very short time. So that's been one of the biggest changes, is customers converting over to different products because of people now being at home versus going to restaurants.
And so output is extremely critical today. And when we as an industry don't have the labor to create that output, then we have to look at something that, how do we do this? Over the past few years, I've been in and out of food plants for a long time. Over the past few years, there's been a paradigm shift in thinking with food manufacturers. And that is, okay, we've got these people here. It's hard to get more, and our labor rates are going up. What do we do?
Traditionally, the food industry has been a heavy labor market, and the last few years, especially with some of the pandemic issues, the labor force hasn't been there to be able to continue to produce the amount of food that we need.
Our customers have an especially difficult time bringing in and keeping labor, because let's face it, it's poultry and meat plants. They're cold, they're wet. We're dealing with killing animals, and it's not necessarily the most glamorous place to be for a day-to-day hourly line worker. So they're looking for as much automation as possible. And a lot of these plants are staffed 50% less than what they need, and they're not able to run certain products. They're not able to run the volumes that they'd like, and every day is a struggle. So anything that we can do to remove labor out of their plants is what they're looking for. That and food safety and environmental, maintaining as green of a profile as they can.
And so that's why we're really focused on automation, on how can we help our customers integrate automation into their food lines, and take some of that stress of resources off of them. So that's really what we've been focusing on, and I think we've done a pretty good job so far, and lots of opportunity in the future to continue that.
And in the past, everybody was concerned, well, you're going to take jobs away and everything else. Well, those jobs aren't being filled. The only thing that's filling those jobs now are automation. And in many of those cases, robotic arms of different types are filling that void of humans doing that work. So people will ask, well, what happens to people working on the production line? It's a great question. Here's what happens. They get retrained. They get put into jobs that aren't so dreary, that aren't so repetitive, that requires them to think and requires them to move forward and advance in their careers.
A huge point is also injuries. So we have customer feedback. They said they went from carpal tunnel injuries, 300-400 a year to 0. Sharp edges are just gonna put less strain on your wrists. You know, that cut's gonna be clean. You're gonna get more yield out of the meat. There's a lot of factors that, you know, make customers want to purchase a robot that sharpens a knife versus hand labor.
And so really what ends up happening is people become better, they become more valuable, and by becoming better and more valuable, their rates go up. And at the same time, guess what happens? We solve the problem of output. And as the population continues to grow, we're able to produce more because it's the automation that's working in tandem with the people that are there to make it all happen.
I've been in the business 30 years, and we have seen automation come and then go depending on the availability of labor. But this feels different, I think, to everybody. And I think that everybody feels that the labor, while it may get eased a little bit, the amount of labor that our customers were able to get, fairly regularly, that the ability to get that labor is probably not going to come back unless there's serious changes to like immigration policy and I guess that's the main thing that would impact it. And I just think that automation is probably here to stay at this time.
Folks will talk about federally mandated minimum wage. Well, the food industry is surpassing that now. You go to work in a food plant, you're not going to be making minimum wage. There's a lot of food plants that are paying close to $20 an hour, or in some cases over. On top of that, hiring bonuses, retention bonuses. It's a phenomenal place for unskilled labor to go and start to become skilled. It really is a great place to be.
I totally agree. And I think too, a lot of people think, and this has been a challenge for a long time, a lot of people think that manufacturing, the industrial environments are dirty and boring and stodgy and whatever. And I think examples like this is showing, this innovation, this technology, this automation, that it's actually the exact opposite. Anyone who would come and walk these, the floors of these shows will see, wow, it's not stale and whatever. There's all kinds of things that are going on. There's a lot of change and it's exciting. So to your point, great opportunity to be able to jump in, especially with, you mentioned with the pay rates are going way up.
Pay rates are great. And benefits too. Because, production line workers now get, health benefits. Some get 401ks. There's all kinds of neat things that these companies are doing to attract people into their plants and into their companies. And it's really been neat to watch. And at the same time, it continues to help our economy, including not only in the US, but globally, continue to prosper and continue to grow. We want everybody to do well. And by everybody doing well, we'll do well.
Great philosophy. Love it. Marty, thank you so much for your time.
Danny, thank you.
All right. And that wraps up our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a lot of takeaways, a lot of things that I learned. Again, like I mentioned before in the beginning of the segment, this is new to us, for us over at IndustrialSage as far as the food production goes. But there's a lot of similarities when we're looking at automation and we're looking at some of the other manufacturing processes that we've kind of talked about in the past. One of the big things, a continued story that we've heard from everybody and that you're hearing is labor, supply chain issues are being a big challenge. So a lot of companies were looking at automation before. It was a nice to have. Maybe it was, it's on the list. We know we need to do it at some point, But now, because of the pandemic, we absolutely have to take care of this. We have to do it. So it's been pushed forward. It's now like number one on people's issues. So you're seeing a lot of innovation here, and you're going to continue to see a lot more. So thanks for watching. And our hope is that we're going to bring you more content like this at other shows as 2022 continues. One thing that I will add is that the attendance. We have to. I guess I have to address that before I completely close. The attendance maybe wasn't as well attended, certainly as it was in 2019, as we understand. 2022 or 2020 rather, for IPPE, they canceled it. They didn't have it. But what we heard, and this is the same thing that we heard at Modex in 2020, before the pandemic really, everything shut down, was that while attendance is lower, the quality was higher. Why? Because a lot of buyers are feeling the need that they need to come in with some of these solutions. And so the people that are here are their higher quality leads, and people that are really interested, have real needs they need to solve. And so you're seeing that. I'm curious about what the trends are going to be like going into the rest of 2022. I hope that you're going to see higher attendance. You're going to see more people coming back on some of these trade shows. But hey, we're going to be here along for the ride, and we're going to report back on that as we get out through the rest of the year. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back next week on IndustrialSage with an executive series, or hey, maybe another trade show. That's what we hope to do. So, all right, thanks.